Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's 5:15 here on Friday, the 3rd of September. Another non-farm payroll report has come and gone. The number was disappointing, but perversely enough, that should be good for the stock market because it means that there's less chance of tapering or less government money printing in the US in the short term. Hard to imagine that markets would make much of a move this afternoon prior to the American Labor Day long weekend. And as you can see on the US market, we've got finally a confirmed up in place. But the confirmed up occurs when the market is traded up for 2 weeks in a row. And the buy-sell ratio, the number of shares in effective S buy divided by the number of shares in the sell, is greater than 1. Buy-sell ratio stuck its nose above 1 for a day. That confirmed the change in the call. But today it's actually come back down below 1 again. I don't think we can draw a great deal of conclusions from that just before a non-farm, just before a long weekend. I'm still holding positions in the US. I've got the Vector S composite, and as you can see, this is the buy-sell ratio. Stuck its nose above 1 for a day, has pulled back again, and this has been quite a difficult bit of trading in the American market, that's for sure, after the party we had last year and the first few months of this year. So I'm still very positive of markets for a run into the end of the year. They are, however, in the short term overbought, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a pullback to get rid of some weak hands before it moves and moves considerably. Time will tell. If there's going to be a major change in trend, then it invariably occurs next week after the long weekend, folks. So just be on your guard next Tuesday and Wednesday, and I'll do some videos on that at the time. I'm holding some US positions. I haven't really done that much. I'm still holding Crocs. It's well in the money. AMD has done something today. Still haven't got into DEC, and I'm going to show you that chart in a second. Bought a little bit of HCA. Still holding Goldman, still holding Square. Square's the only one that's underwater. So if we have a look at, let's say, AMD and DEC just for a second. Let's look at HCA as well. We haven't looked at those in a while. If I chart those, that's AMD, and as you can see, it's in sync with my two moving averages, 21 and 55. Earnings per share is rising strongly, and it charted one of my famous spring patterns just here. It went up, it's come back and kissed that old top, and it's on a buy recommendation on Vector Vest. I just have to give it the benefit of the doubt for a little while longer. So we shall see. Stop loss is still at the entry point on that one. But this is Deckers. Now, I'm not in this share, folks, but I'm getting quite excited about it. I was nearly tempted to get in up here if it had broken that high, but it didn't. So it's pulled right back, and it's getting close to that 62% retracement. It's taken out this low convincingly, and as you can see, there's another old high right across here. So a reversal here, and clearly we've got a low range day today, which frequently will occur before a reversal. A nice big reversal here, and as they say, the ball would be in and the game would be on. So I'm stalking this, and that's one for next week. I'm going to have a long look over the weekend as well at more opportunities next week if the trend should keep moving, and that is the stochastic. We're back to gone to HCA. That's the stochastic on DEC, and it's right down below 20. And if it does make a bottom here, then the price would be rising and the stochastic would be falling, and that would in fact be a reverse divergence at an old high, at a 62% retracement. That's one of my favorite setups. So let's hope that that's going to be a big one. This is HCA, Hospital Group. Stochastic not telling us a lot. A gap here. I noticed the gap. I was tempted to buy in here, but the stop loss was as wide as a number 27 bus, so I didn't bother. It came back to here, and I got in somewhere around here about 250. That's the first, that's the second. I think this is the third attempt, so it's going to have a go now, maybe on the fourth attempt. We shall see. Earnings per share rising strongly, significantly undervalued in Vector Vest, and I'm going to give that the benefit of the doubt as well. So those are three opportunities. I haven't got that yet. I'm thinking of buying into that if we get that reversal. I'm holding Goldman Sachs. That's well in the money. The stop loss at entry. And Square, I'm still underwater in Square, although it's going the right way today. So let's look across the markets now. That is the S&P on the 24-hour market. It's a 4-hour chart, ladies and gentlemen, from the last low. And you know, from an Elliott perspective, we've made 5 clear waves up here. I think we need a pullback, even a small pullback, to scare out the weak hands here. We shall see what happens on Tuesday. Certainly the non-farm payroll disappointing, caused bond yields to rise, and that means a bond yield rises, bond prices fall, which normally means that that's a risk-on situation. Very, very positive, but the cynic in me that's been in fact nailed by these markets so many times doesn't expect it to move in a straight line upwards. They normally come back and stop a heap of people out before they make a directional move. Let's hope that I'm being too pessimistic. We look across the markets now. That is gold. Gold having a great afternoon on the back of that non-farm payroll report, and right up at these old highs. That would have been a great place to have just got out at that 1832, but I didn't. I'm still holding that long, and I'm going to bring that stop loss up to 1803. I think that this move up is starting to look very long in the tooth. I'm in the move since 1752, and that's been moving up. I've held it right through all of this, so that's quite a nice $80 move in the gold market that I would not want to give back. And that's based on my double time frame analysis. I've showed that many times based on 8-week stochastic and an 8-day stochastic. So that's looking pretty good. And I note that Polymetal was giving me a little bit of heebie-jeebies yesterday. That's up today. Pan-African Resources is up today. I reiterate, folks, that if you're not in the gold market, then stay out of it until you see a close above a couple of closes or a weekly close up around the 1875 level. I think now, folks, that we'll see this pull back. We'll see, even under the most positive circumstances, something like this. And if I can find the dreaded trend line tool, something like this. And I would be a buyer, or even if I hold this position, I'll be a buyer down around here. And we shall see if it holds, but it's certainly looking very positive. I think the non-farm payroll report today means that Mr. Paul will not be in any hurry to, in fact, taper. And I see that both Goldman's and the Bank of America have pulled down growth in the US considerably over the last couple of days. So that's gold. Very good afternoon. And the last chart, this is the euro dollar, which is largely the same thing, and just an illustration, folks, of how tough trading can be at times. I've traded this long 3 times before I got pay dirt, really. I bought it here, I made 50 points. I bought it there, and I got stopped out at entry, and I bought it back there again at 1705, and I'm going to actually close that one and put that in the bank this afternoon. I should have had a target at the old high at 1900, but as yet I haven't taken any profits there. Good rule is to be very slow to take your profits, folks. Just let them run. There'll be a little devil on your shoulder telling you to take profits after 10 ticks. Many people say that you can never go broke by taking a quick profit. Well, I assure you, you can go very broke by taking a quick profit. You've got to let the winners run. I know you've heard it a million times, but as you will have noted yourself, that it's actually much more difficult to do than to talk about or write about. So this was the most probable of them, of the longs, because those of you that have been coming to my Monday afternoon sessions will know that was a falling wedge. So both gold and the euro going the same way. It's essentially the same thing. And my longer term charts on the euro tell me that we're going to see sooner or later a capitulation in the dollar here, folks. From that low, there's without a doubt 5 up and there's 3 back here. If this level holds, then I think that we're on the cusp of a much, much weaker dollar. Remember, as the chart goes up, that's the euro increasing, the dollar falling, and you can see my weekly stochastic is down in the buy area. The stochastics do nothing. They're not a timing indicator at all. They just tell you when the markets are stretched one way or the other, where you can actually risk a pound to make 3 or 4 pounds. That's all. So it gives you the discipline to wait for those. This level may not hold, folks. And my dear friend Larry Pacevatus, who knows more about FIB, I think, than anybody else in the world, is talking about this getting down to 114. I haven't seen if he has changed that analysis after this good week up. But sooner or later, folks, we're going to see, in my humble opinion, probabilistically speaking, a much weaker dollar, and I believe that's going to be good for commodities, and that's going to be really, really good for copper and BlackRock World Mining, etc., that I'm holding a huge position of. So let's have a look at the good old UK. Well, green. Every measure of the market is up, and it's been like that for a very long time now. I've had a good run. As you know, on vectorvest.co.uk, I've been calling some smaller stocks over the last month to showcase VectorVest, and they've all made big percentage moves. I'm glad to report very little of that, folks, was to do with me. Excuse me. As I keep telling to the UK people on Monday afternoons, 70% of the exercise is what the general market is doing, and the general market has been favourable, and that pretty much takes everything your way. That is in perspective. If we look at my little portfolio, I'm very pleased. Lion Trust just keeps on trucking. Kainos is hanging in there. Just remember, folks, that Kainos is sitting. If you're a swing trader, it's starting to look quite fully extended. Crichton's somebody emailed me earlier that it's at 120. This is Thursday night's close. So that's going quite nicely. Just remember that although the VectorVest fundamentals are good and the technicals are good, the darn thing's got a huge spread, like that number 27 bus I was talking about. So not for everybody. The volumes are low. And I'm reasonably pleased with everything else. JD Sports, there's some corporate news out that you've probably read about. GB Group, I really like. There was margin problems in all the builders, folks, and they've in fact took a bit of smack based on great profit results from Barrett, but cost pressures causing the future to be more problematic for all the builders. So I see that Persimmons has eaten back a lot of that today. Cranswick just under the £40 level, and Pan-African Resources and Polymetal I'm still very happy to hold. That may not be the case for you, but I'm still very happy to hold them. They're paying really good dividends, and I believe that sooner or later this corrective wave that we've had in gold over the last year is going to come to an end. I think that if we do see a close above 1872, and I wouldn't be at all surprised gold to actually get to 1872 in this move, although it is temporarily very, very overbought indeed. Then a move to 2,300 is not out of the question in the short term. Monday afternoon, I'll be doing a VectorVest Q&A, and I'll be looking at both the UK market and the American market. I think there's a very exciting setup in platinum. I did a video on that the other day. I'll be looking at that in detail, looking at SLP in detail on Monday afternoon. That's at 1:30 to 2:30. If you're not a VectorVest subscriber and you want a link for that, then just email me, david.paul@vectorvest.com. Have a great weekend, folks. Sun's finally out here after a ghastly August in West London, so let's hope that we get a bit of sunshine this weekend. Bye-bye now.